Hello, we are going live on Monday morning, bright and early. And this is the Reinventing the Tattoo community, where Guy Aitchison is inviting you, tattooers, apprentices, artists, collectors, the curious. Everyone's invited to the Reinventing the Tattoo community to be inspired, to learn a little bit, and then to share with each other to try to become a little better every day. This is the Reinventing Drawing Group show, and you can catch all of the archives of all of these different shows across the different, you could find them in the library in the Reinventing the Tattoo archive. I am going to check in to make sure that this is going out across the networks, and it looks like we are on the YouTubes, and we are going out on the Facebooks. This is Jake asking me to email the link to him. Which is funny because we're actually live here. So how about, well, why don't you let us know in the chat room how you're doing, and if you're painting or drawing, if this is your first beaming in, and I will be emailing Jake this thing. So Jake Meeks is from the Fireside Tattoo Network, so you should be heading over to their YouTube after this. And he has got amazing videos from, for a long time. He's been 10 years maybe, and he's got a great channel. And we are very happy to be beaming out. Thank you very much. I believe we are actually going out on his channel this morning. Yeah, certainly looks like it. Oh, you know what? Let me click the Facebook one too while we're at it. So we are also hitting at the Facebooks. Yeah, so this is the Fireside. Oh, let me, come on. Okay, apologize about this, but in any event, yeah, the Fireside Tattoo Network has got tons of interviews. He's actually got interviews with Guy Aitchison. He has, actually, I've got a couple, Nick Baxter. He's got both interviews and some seminars and whatnot, some workshops. Yesterday, Nick had an amazing, okay, there we go. I'm back now. Yesterday, the last stream was Nick Baxter's Still Life Art Jam, and it was amazing. Nick Baxter he's just really talented. He's, again, inspiring. The amount of knowledge that he's sharing in these art jams is pretty crazy. So if you go to the archive, and actually I'll show you here. I have a window open. Boom. This is the community that I keep talking about. And you can see here we have our listing of events. There's a feed where you could be posting up from the different groups that you join. There's a subscribers area that will try to sell you later if you're an artist. But here is the library. And inside of the library, we have, our history videos. We have a couple different sections here. We'll talk about the videos right now. Boom. Now, this is a growing library of this amazing content. We're streaming out 5 to 7 times a week here on the Reinventing Network, and there's very little drama. It's all inspiring, awesome shit. This is the Tattoo Collecting Podcast. It happens 11 o'clock noon every Thursday, noon Eastern. And Jordan Ruckus and Fawn Baker interview amazing tattoo collectors, and they're up to episode 21. We've got the Reinventing Drawing Groups, and all of these long form conversations that we're having while everyone's drawing and painting are perfect for putting on in the background of the waiting room or of the tattoo floor while you're tattooing people. It's to break up the music. We've got Let's Talk Tattoo with Mark from Needle Jig. Mark Lescarbo, he's originator of the round needles and some of the best needle jigs and needles around. We've got the history of tattoo conventions with World Tattoo Events is Alex Van Dutch, one of the most comprehensive tattoo convention websites that exists. We've got Drunk Critique, which is, yes, we get drunk and critique. Bob Tyrell and Tony Ramel from Tattoo Society are often the co-hosts. We've got Live in the Castro, Haley Adams, interviewing LGBTQ plus POC, all sorts of awesome stories you may or may not have heard yet. I know that it's awesome for me to hear all the new, it's a new cast of characters for me, which is great. Virtual tattoo gathering replays. Okay, we have tons of stuff here, and we've got a quick word from sponsors here. You definitely. Oh, actually, before our sponsors, we'll talk about our in the members area. We do have some buttons that we can click, and so the contributors, people that are posting up, and people whose posts get a lot of likes, they jump up to the top of the list. So we'll feature a new one every month. Adriana, the tattoo journalist, is the one we're plugging, and she's a ringer, right? She writes for magazines. And so her feed is just filled up with amazing tattoos, often bodysuits, back pieces. This is some Teresa. She comes up often as an inspiration. She is an amazing tattooer and an artist. All this stuff. So Adriana is definitely someone, when you join the reinventing community, you should find her and make sure you follow her. Click the follow, the bell, and all that stuff. And yeah. Sponsors. So we've got courses.reinventingthetattoo.com is where you will find the Reinventing the Tattoo canon. This is Guy's book with all of the seminars, webinars, not all of the webinars, but all of the ones that are pertinent to the canon. And it's a lot of them. It's probably over 10 or 15 webinars. There's dozens of hours. There is a free preview to check out, but for $300 a year, it is well worth it. You could see here all of the different lessons that exist. We've got guest artists, and Guy is able to and updating this as we speak. This is a new platform for us, which is really exciting. So this is designed for us. We have the webinar library, so you can just skip to all the webinars, the group exercise replays. Every Monday night at 9 o'clock, there are exclusive exercises, group exercises with Guy, and it's pretty amazing. All the reinventing crew can get together and then zoom in and get access with Guy. Catalog.reinventingthetattoo.com is Guy's products that he has for sale. The Biomech Encyclopedia, which we will often talk about, is out of control. It's 2 massive volumes. I have it here in the corner. I break it out sometimes. It's out of control. We also have Guy's machine, some of his DVDs, etc., etc. And Inkjet Stencils is the last sponsor I want to plug officially here. We've got a link to their virtual booth in the community. And inside of here, they've got a group so you could upload your inkjet stencil porn yourself. We've got examples and demos with videos of back pieces being printed out from Andre. And then here you'll see we have inkjet videos and free test info. Frank Concepcion, my pronunciation's horrible, he beamed in from the Dominican Republic and showed us how to edit the files in Photoshop a couple different ways. And there's also instructions here on how to get some samples. So if you're not ready to buy the printer, it is an eco-friendly printer, which is worth noting, but when you click on it, it's going to show you all the information here. It's my internet's probably getting a little tapped out. So there we go. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let us know in the chat room where you're beaming in from, and I will end up hopping in the background. If there's a lull in the conversation, I'll hop in with your questions. And if you are interested in beaming in, then we can't let the link out on the I just had to enable the chat. We can't let the link out on the YouTubes or the Facebooks, because then spam bots, chime in at a horrible moment. But it's really easy. Sign up to the Reinventing the Tattoo community.reinventingthetattoo.com, either of the app stores. And yeah, we're here with Jake Meeks. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, check it out, Fireside Tattoo Network. And we will make sure that you follow him. He's got interviews galore. He's got online courses for sale, all that stuff. I am hopping in the background.
Can you see?
You're on, Jake, I think, if you could hear me.
Yeah, no, it seems like my video is completely frozen up for some reason. I see just a still shot. Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you. Your screen now. Ooh, now you look clear.
Okay. But I'm not moving at all, right?
No, it's a little chunky.
Yeah.
Right now you're not. Right now, well, it was chunky. Now you're not moving at all, but you look really clear.
Oh, well, good. Yeah, that's strange. I don't know. I'm using that the mini cam that Jason is using all the time, and I've tested it all weekend long, and it's been working like a charm. But right now, it seems like it's really lagging.
Well, it's worth fixing these things on the fly here. Do you want to try just resetting? It could be.
Maybe so. Let me just go to the regular camera for a second, and maybe I can restart Minicam.
Oh.
I think that might work. I don't know if it's Minicam, because Minicam looks like if I look over on its screen, I'm moving just fine on it. It seems like it's the zoom is what's lagging. So let's see here.
Yeah, hold on one second. I gotta close my door, and if people are watching, let us know how it's working in the chat room for you, and we'll work this out.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to know what it looks like for you guys. Let's see. I'm gonna switch over to just the regular HD cam, or my regular camera here. See if that's any better. Of course, I can't share my drawing this way. Even that's a little slow.
Even that is a little slow. How's your internet connection?
Yeah. Well, I'm hardline. So let's see. Let me go to network preferences here and see if maybe I can turn my Wi-Fi on. The hardline should be faster, I would think.
The hardline should be faster. That is true.
I would hope. Yeah, says it's connected to the hardline. I'll tell you what. Do we have anyone else anyone else in the waiting room just yet, or no?
We don't just yet.
What they're doing. Okay.
But if you want to, I could show off a little bit more of some of the artwork and some of the features.
Yeah.
I've got this 3D art window here. Okay, well, it is. So this is going out on all the Facebooks and stuff. So let me share my screen here. I've got some pretty cool.
Yeah, if you want to jump back on and do that, let me just kind of restart these things and see if it does anything to speed it up. That's cool. I'm going to log off for just a second.
One of the features I've been playing with, you could find here in the art lab, and I'm actually looking for someone it's a perfect job for an apprentice, but someone who will help get emails and high resolution pictures and then work inside of this platform to help us create a real exhibit. So this is some bios and collabs. Enter exhibit. And yeah, usually when people tell me about these kinds of things, I think they're pretty cheesy, but this is pretty cool. So we've got a click and drag to rotate the camera, so I could come in here, and then I've got the arrow keys, and this is pretty neat. I could back up a little bit, and this is a collab that was done inside of the bio collab event that we did, that guy hosted, and with Marcus and a couple other folks. And yeah, but the thing is, we could have a full art show here and decorate the walls with all sorts of art. And the interface itself is really easy to use. Boom, this is looking pretty cool. And yeah, you can use the mouse to kind of move around, use the keyboard, kind of click in. And so unfortunately, it's looking pretty sweet, but I'm not able to spend the time myself personally to make it as great as this should be. And if there was someone who had a couple hours to help curate a virtual 3D art show, I know there's already a lot of people inside of the Reinventing community that are uploading some serious art, and we want to curate it. There's a lot of art that's in progress and whatnot, but there's certainly enough cool digital art that if there was people available to spend a little bit of time, then we can make some really cool exhibits. And we have information here. So if there is, prints or originals for sale, then we can do this. Okay, let's see here. It looks like we've got Patrick. Hey, Patrick, how are you doing? Can I guess your audio is still catching up, possibly. So while Jake's beaming in here, I'm going to show off a little bit more artwork from some of the different members here. It's quite a pleasure to check this out. So you'll see in the feeds here, we've got the replays. Nick Baxter's still life was pretty sick, and you can just kind of check it out in here. We've got all of the replays. You can either find them in the posts watching through the replays here. You can also find them in the library. Derb has announced his Longevity of the Tattoo Artist seminar, which is pretty out of control. It'll be pieces, parts of his other health seminars, and kind of updated and then put into the online format, which is pretty sick. Yeah, obviously Derb's a powerhouse of working and tattooing, so he's got a lot of advice to offer people. This is a place for people to put artwork in progress for critique. We do have a full tattoo section. We have a tattoo and original art galleries, and it's pretty cool. You know what? Actually, while we're here too, it's not a bad time to show off the subscriber section. Give a little bit of the hard sell here. So if you download the app, you'll notice the subscriber section probably might have a little block section on it. If you are a website educational subscriber, so if you've paid the $300 a year, then just email us and we'll connect the dots to make sure that you certainly don't have to pay twice. But point is, here's the subscriber area here, and we could see that we have the RIT canon. So this is the main part. It used to be Guy's book. It started off as the 3-ring binder, and then went into the big book, and then it went into an online version with an awesome forum, and now it is full-on online course. It's broken down by chapters and different lessons, and we also run exclusive exercises every Monday, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so you can see here, this is a full, I'm not going to go too far into it, but yeah, we've got a full online educational platform back here, and with guest writers, and it's Guy is able to kind of go through this and update it as kind of at will. And then other places in the subscriber area here, we have the different exercises. So these are all of the Monday exercises that are exclusive to the members. So I mean, this is it's crazy how many awesome sessions there are with Guy, and each of those lessons has something to do with the pieces part of the canon. There's an exercise group here, so after people do the exercises, they can update them for critique and for comments, and it's pretty awesome. It's well, hey, I got to use other words other than awesome. It's very inspiring. I got to get a thesaurus. In any event, there's critique groups, subscriber discussions, reviews, and the subscriber section of Reinventing is pretty awesome. Hey, we are beaming in with Patrick Boothman, who's beaming in from Wales. Looks like he's working on a Reinventing subscriber exercise. Is this something you started on? Was this?
When was last week.
It was last week. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, for me it was Monday night. It was it starts at 2:00 in the morning, so I can't sort of tune in live. So I end up doing it on Tuesday. Doesn't really matter, but yeah.
Yeah, cool. We definitely have appreciated all the feedback from people that are checking out the replays. It's one of these things that we do and then we put out there, and but when people are talking about actively checking them out and working on them, it's it keeps us doing them. It's awesome.
Yeah, there's loads, isn't there? I mean, it's funny when you did that review of the very first one with Jake last week. It's like, oh crikey, that was, I don't know, back in December, but by sort of going through it once a week, then it soon adds up, doesn't it? And I've found the same with my drawing practice and IT, the Procreate stuff. Once you get in that habit of weekly, exercising, weekly sort of doing it, then they just get that much better, that quicker. It's really good.
It's one of the things I realized a couple of months ago, as this was all, it's all kind of coming back together, and we did all the virtual gatherings. In a year or two, all the artists, and we know the cast of characters, we see them and we see them in the chat rooms. There's a lot of people that are working along, and that aren't beaming in. But doing it regularly like this, consistently, over the course of time, the compounding effects are just so amazing. And watching artists get better. I did it with the conventions and with the tattoo shop, and with reinventing and other online webinars and whatnot. But again, this is a way for people to like literally beam in, once a week or twice a week, and we see the progress, and you could hear the lessons, the spirit of tattooing move around. So something on one of Russ's podcasts will go to you or Jason or Melissa or SJ or someone, and 3 weeks later they're in an art draw with Jake and talking about that same issue, and then all of a sudden you literally watch that lesson move on again to another round of people who then inspire other people, and it's pretty crazy. And the compounding effect on reinventing is pretty amazing. That library is just getting packed full of amazing content every week. And, it's definitely true. If we slow down a little bit, if we could slow down a little bit and like detail out a couple things, we'd have a much more tremendous audience, I think. I mean, and we will, because we are buttoning things up. But at this point, it's almost like it is like a little tattoo network. There's 5 shows going out every week, like clockwork.
Yeah.
So Jake, when we can see you, you look really awesome. Like that camera's cool. The background's slightly out of focus, and it looks like you're fucking Caravaggio. It's
yeah. It's just I don't know if maybe I'm having an internet speed connection, because I just restarted the entire system, and just logging back online to get the Zoom link took forever. So I'm wondering, even with my hard line, if maybe I'm having an AT&T issue, because so this is my new setup, and it's super cool. I got a whole like little podcast setup here with new 4K cameras and all that. But I did like 3 podcasts this weekend, and they all went off without a hitch. So it has to be something to do with my internet speed here today. I might need to call AT&T.
And you did it with Zoom or?
Yeah, I did all 3 of them with Zoom. The only issue that I had. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so it's all the same technology that you're using now.
Yeah, it's the same thing I used all weekend. And
open up a new browser window. This is, I guess, we'll do some tech for people. If anybody ever has issues with their streaming, one of the tests you can do is open up a speed test. I think you go to like speedtest.net, and it'll tell you what your upload and download is, so you'll know whether it's your internet or whether it's your wireless. If you're connecting your 4K cameras to your like you said, it was working before, so.
It was working before, yeah. So it's something to do with the internet speed today. I'm gonna do a little speed test real quickly. Can you hear me okay? It's just my video that's in trouble, right?
Well, we can hear you fine, yeah. So maybe if you want to do if you're screen sharing, we might be able to get the screen share without a problem.
Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna do the speed test real quickly. The only change that I made, now I've actually podcasted with that. I did update to the newest Mac OS, the Big Sur, and but I hadn't had any real issues with it. Maybe that had something to do with it. Let's see here. What's up, Patrick? I saw you in there.
Good, thank you. Yeah, no, good. I was going to get in quickly because I'm supposed to have a phone call coming in quickly anytime soon. But I was listening to one of the old firesides the other day, and there was that one that you did with, I think it was like the second one that you did with Mckinnon, and it was probably about, he was talking about like figure drawing, and he mentioned that, I think it's called the Croquis Cafe, and they do something called, February. So once a day, there's an exercise throughout February, and it's the 1st of February today. So I sort of signed up for that. So for $36, a year's access to all their figure drawing, bargain. So yeah, thanks for that, and thanks to Million as well for recommending it.
Yeah, I had forgotten about, what was the name of that again? I'd completely forgotten about that.
It's called, on Instagram, it's the Croquis Cafe. Croquis, the French spelling, Croquis, Q-U, oh God, O-I-S, Croquis, C-R-O-Q-U-O-I-S. Yeah. Yeah, so that was, I mean, that must have been years ago, but it just sort of came up, and wow, the day before I was listening, and yeah, it's 1st of Feb, so yeah.
You know, the other fireside interview I love is the one with Rember, and the way he talks about his tattoo shops, it was like in full alignment, and like, yeah, there we go, and he's got that shit done. So we do have, let's see, so Taylor Chapman's in the chat room. He says Google Gas is a native speed test. Just internet, just search internet speed test. Yeah, that's usually what we end up doing. And then Melissa Sinkes says good morning all. So that's wicked bright and early for her. That's she's out on the West Coast in Oregon. That's
yeah. Man, I can't even get the internet to pull up. It's still trying to load the speed test page, so that should tell me something.
Well, yeah, there you go. We are at the whims of the internet gods.
Yep, unfortunately. Let me may just stop my video for now, just so I don't have to watch it jerk around. Yeah, that interview with Rember, I thought was I got a lot out of that. I thought it was incredible how he was trying to bring in really high level artists on a regular basis just to do workshops for his tattooers and stuff like that. And he has a ton of tattooers. I think I remember he has over 20, maybe 25 artists in his shop.
It's like 20 to 25 artists, and it was I think it's over 5 apprentices to help support it all. Something to that effect. I mean, obviously, it's a move. You know, all those numbers are moving targets over the course of time. But you know, his shop was getting one of the largest, if not the largest, with single location.
Yeah.
And he puts the younger tattooers, or the people that are just kind of coming into the culture, in between him and Francisco, one of the co-owners, or I guess I don't know. I mean, you should listen to the interview because he's down, but yeah, he's always insanely smart, and it's always a pleasure to catch up with him and his brain.
Yeah,
we'll do it again soon.
Did I see that there was another Baxter painting thing last night, or was it tonight?
Yeah, no, that was last night. I could fire that up here a little bit to give it a bit of a plug, and yeah, he did a still life. It's Nick is such a sick motherfucker. I gotta really just take a thesaurus lessons or something, because let's see here. I want to go to library, videos, art jams. There we go. Oh, is this giving me a little bit of issues here? Okay, I'll try this.
You had mentioned that Taylor.
Can you see this? Oh yeah, this is playing right.
Taylor Chapman was on the call. I've been talking with him. He's got they're going to be our latest fireside sponsor, TSM Pro. They're doing some really interesting things in tattoo technology, and especially using a lot of the functions of sorry, I'm trying to do 10 things at once here. Trying to use some of the social functions, like using Facebook Messenger, things that I'm terrible at, automating a lot of that, using bots to answer common questions and to guide you in the right direction. And so we're putting together a little package that we're going to start kind of promoting some of the things that they're doing on our show. And the first one should be in tomorrow's episode. We got an episode coming out one day early with that dude Brad Wooten that you guys had on. So that set is supposed to come out tomorrow. So I did a little kind of walkthrough with him, and I say a little walkthrough. It went for like 2.5 hours. I've been editing nonstop, trying to get it down to something cohesive. But that's going to release tomorrow, our episode alongside of that actual brush set. Man, that thing is crazy. It is absolutely insane. All of the way that those brushes work together and lock together, and then he's kind of a mad scientist in how he uses them. So I can't wait to see how people start to use them in like representational art. Like, he's doing a lot of abstract stuff, but style tattooing and stuff like that. I can't wait to see how people use this brush set. It is nuts. Such a crazy set.
Did you just say it was going to come out tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow's the release date for it. Definitely pick it up over on the Tattoo Smart. It's crazy. I watched him do the entire demo, Gabe, for you and Guy whenever you had him on reinventing, and then I watched him again as we were doing the Zoom call the other night, and I was just like even more blown away each time that I see it. I'm like, the way that he uses it in conjunction with the different types of what do you call when you set layers to different multiply and blend and like what do you call that?
Don't know.
Yeah. Anyways,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, when you use it in conjunction with those, with the blend mode, layer blend modes, it is crazy what you can do.
Yeah, I'm gonna fire it up here. Give me a second.
Yeah, you should show some of it. Trying to pull this speed test up on my phone since I'm doing so much on this. Yeah, that says that I'm at 8 megabits per second.
Okay, we'll see how much Vimeo likes Zoom here.
All right. Yeah.
It doesn't.
Let's
see here.
Yeah, we went through this actual example a little bit again. I had remembered him doing this on your interview.
If you go to the library, it's in the Reinventing the Tattoo podcast folder. And then we had Russ and Damon. The whole it's pretty sick. Yeah, you can see all this kind of. But
here you go. This is funny. See if I can. I'm gonna change my video to the webcam and see if it's any better for just a second. It won't look as good, but change it, turn it on real quick. See if I can.
Good morning from Kirsten in the chat room, 931. If you're interested in zooming in, the Zoom link is in. What does that mean? 370 kbs.
Yeah, that's my internet speed. Not even 1 mbs. 370 bytes per second. So that explains why I'm not getting any service right now. I guess I need to call AT&T. Although the webcam seems to be working a little bit better.
The webcam's working a little better. I mean, it would naturally if you had, you're not trying to bust through a high definition, footage.
Yeah. I'm streaming this Sony camera in at 4K. I've got this little cam link that's super cool. It's worked well all weekend. One issue I did have with it though, I recorded an interview that we did over the weekend with Kevin from Tattoo Snob.
Oh yeah, you're saying he's great.
Yeah, and I was streaming. I was using the 4K Sony camera, but I recorded it using Zoom's recorder. And when I went to output it, Zoom didn't do a good job of translating the 4K signal, and I look very noisy and kind of pixelated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the key is to not record through Zoom. I think I need to record it through QuickTime or something like that, and record it in HD. And just that way. I think it must be Zoom's limitation in their ability to, in their resolution and screen recording. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, Zoom is, we're basically forcing Zoom to do shit it's not necessarily designed to do, right? It's designed to have, as low latency video and audio communications as possible, and then we're like, ooh, it's almost a video mixer that we could use to webcast, And so, even the recordings on some of the Zoom files, it's not, Skype will separate out each of the videos and each of the audios separately, whereas Zoom, you don't quite have that same level of control over what's recorded. And it's getting better. Zoom's obviously, they're not stupid. They're like, oh, actually we'll make this high res and we'll make this a little bit better. Hey, real quick. Hey, Eric, when you're getting your camera set up, if you could get your camera horizontal, that would be awesome.
Let's see if this is getting any better. I'm going to switch back over to my other camera and see if it does anything. Yeah, that's the thing, as we start to transition to this, this non-physical world where we're doing all our interviews on Zoom, the quality stay high or even improve from what it should be better than what we did when we were just podcasting out of at conventions and at shops, because we're able to do all these, able to control the lighting and control the audio much better. But it's just that's not. But it's just not working that way so far for me. But I did invest in a really nice like camera and audio podcasting setup. But the seeing whether like a computer can keep up with it.
Yeah, that's the next thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Melissa, what are you working on there?
So I'm working on the still life from last night.
That was great.
Thank you. I stayed up a little bit and worked on the whole rose thing up here, and figured I want to try and get it finished up today.
Yeah. So what is that on the left? Is that an actual photo?
Yeah, it's the reference.
Okay. Yeah, just the way that the photo, I guess that must be printed just on regular paper or something like that. The photo kind of looks like a drawing.
Yeah.
All right. Why you tend to, are you projecting the image to draw out on the screen and then painting it in, or do you sketch it out freehand and then paint it? I just noticed that a lot of times you paint things in chunks rather than like laying a ground and kind of blocking it all in at the same time and working from general to specific.
Well, it depends on what it is. So if I'm doing acrylic, it's usually a little bit more freeform. I like, if I have something pre-drawn, then I usually carbon it onto the canvas or the substrate. But with acrylic, I tend to like do an overall first, just because it's a lot easier to layer. But with oil, I have a tendency to just go in and like finish one whole section or get it mostly finished and then move to another. And I'm not entirely sure why I do that, but I think it's just the difference of drying times versus, being able to blend forever.
Yeah. That's that's looking really nice. It's coming along beautifully. You just started that last night?
Yeah.
Cool. Who else? Eric, I don't think we've met before, have we? Or have you been on before or no?
Yeah, I was on last week.
Oh, okay. Didn't I get confused.
Yeah, I was on periodically with Jason, and then something happened where we had to end the meeting. So
Gotcha. What are you working on?
Yeah, that was the when we put the link out on the general public to try to get more people to zoom in. Like I was kicking myself. I'm like, you asshole! You know that you're not supposed to put fucking unprotected links out on the fucking internet. That's like exactly what spam bots are looking for. And then eventually, it took a month maybe, and they found it. So all of a sudden we have like horror fucking video games going like, wah! And it was like all of a sudden there's a million people joining at the same time, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, well here we go, password protected links and waiting rooms from here on out.
Gotcha. And when did that happen? One of these live streams?
Yeah, I mean it's but it's it's not bad to just be like, go to the reinventing, get the link in the private section. You just need to have you just need to go there to get it. So, anyways,
yeah.
Thanks for tuning back in, Eric.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you working on?
No, I'm working on
tattoo or
it's a like a wicket style tattoo. She has a bunch of I think she has a full sleeve of about 35 tattoos, and I am putting the last piece in, and then I have to tie it together with smoke filler. I mean, I really have to look at her arm to kind of gauge. I don't know if we're going to go geometric for the filler part after this, but this is the last piece of her, last thing that she wanted. So I guess she has her old monster trifecta 50-piece tattoo sleeve.
Yeah, all pork chopped together, huh?
Yeah, I mean, at least it's all in the same style, or it's not like, I want skull and crossbones and then I want a watercolor tattoo over here. At least it all flows. But no, she wants the color, and this is the first color piece on her arm, and I don't want to do color on it. So I'm just seeing how it looks.
Gotcha. You don't want to do color on it?
not really.
Okay.
I'd rather do black and gray all day. To be honest with you.
Where are you? Where do you tattoo from?
I'm out in New York, upstate New York.
Okay.
Side note though, actually I just picked up not to do any plugging or anything like that, but I was watching the podcast with you and Ty and Carson, and one of my one of my other friends. He's down in Florida in Port Charlotte. I just bought a Vlad blotter, the Avengers Spidertron, or both of them. And I messaged him like, dude, have you seen this machine? He goes, no, I'm only using this one. And I actually just picked it up last week and used it a few times, and I'm still waiting on the cams to get out to me to play around with it. But so far, yeah, it's pretty gnarly. It's a good machine.
Yeah. You just have that the one that it comes with the 20%.
Yeah. So when I talked to him, he was Carson was just getting out. He just got a new manufacturer, so he was waiting on the more cams to show up, and they're in. He got them out to me, so they're in the mail. But yeah, I got the 20% 3.6, which is fun because I come from coils, and I spoke with him for a while, and he's like, I think you're gonna like the 20%, and it lines like a madman. It does. The only thing is, I'm interested in possibly changing the from the solid brass bar, like not cam, but essentially the motor arm or whatever, to the aluminum one, because that does have one heck of a punch, a little more than I'm used to over the years. So, but other than that, yeah, I mean, that honestly, that machine is really good. So I'm interested in putting some more hours on it and see what I can do. But it's definitely speeds you up.
Awesome. I love hearing some stories. I was chatting with Carson last week a little bit. I've known him for a long time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was watching a bunch. Like, I don't really get in much. I stay mostly to my own self, and I watch videos on art and things of that nature. But I haven't really got much into the podcast. And after that, I mean, I watched most of you guys' videos. That's actually kind of how I found out about you guys. Really, I mean, actually, Jake, I've watched your channels for a long time. But I'm not gonna say I was like every day sitting there waiting, like, come on, drop something new. But every time I see something up, man, you've always had good content. But yeah, I everything from me, like you guys' fluid dynamic studies between silicone versus petroleum. Yeah, dude, that's an eye opener, man. So it's really cool to see that.
We do have Kirsten. Is that how you pronounce it? Looks like it's awesome. If you could turn your phone or your iPad or whatever it is sideways, then the camera would fill right up. Oh yeah, there we go. Perfect.
There we go.
Cool. And where are you beaming in from?
I'm from Stafford Springs, Connecticut.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. So I'm dealing with this snowstorm, I think, with you
So
too.
are we upstairs in New York?
It's snowing pretty hard over here.
Yep. I do not complain. I try very, very hard not to ever complain about the weather because it's weather and I'm going to have a fan-fucking-tastic day no matter what the weather is. And every once in a while I find myself walking around in the snowstorm and like it's really windy and I'm like my everything's covered, my glasses are completely fogged up, I can't see, my beard's fully, I'm like, oh man, maybe I should have just stayed home this today. But for the most part, unless it's like seriously, I mean, even if it's seriously blizzarding, it's not going to stop me from trying to do what I want to do.
Well, yeah, of course, it's gonna keep you inside if anything. Yeah, or it's been snowing for a while. I'm gonna stay inside and doodle today, I guess.
You just subscribed last week, maybe.
Yeah, I
Groove
did.
painting? Okay. And have you were you able to check out last night's
Yes,
painting jam at all? Or?
I checked out a little bit of it. I don't have any oil paints at the moment, but I was still for future endeavors. I was still taking notes, and it was amazing. I did love it.
Cool. Yeah, Nick's got a really good brain in his head, and yeah, it was a fun crew last night too. It's
Yeah, that was super fun. I enjoy those. Those are fun to look forward to. You don't really get those often where you get, you know, artists coming together to teach other artists how to do their thing. It's quite amazing.
yep, yeah. Although
Can everyone hear me?
we could hear, actually, yeah, we could hear you. You're looking clear, and
Cool. All right. I quit Manicam. Maybe that was what was slowing me down. In addition to the other.
oh yeah,
Yeah. So I don't have a way to show my drawing, but that's cool. It's already 8:45. It's kind of a scratch here today. But Eric, back to what we were talking about just a couple of minutes ago. I was talking to Ty about that machine. I've struggled a little bit with just how punchy that Numa is, and Ty has been doing some great work with it, and so is my buddy Howie. I don't know if you follow Howie Tattoos. Howie does these super poppy, bright things, and he did this huge background field of this robin's egg, or maybe kind of a light teal blue, and it looked perfect. And so I reached out to him, and I was like, "There's no way you did that with this machine, and you don't have any irritation." And I seem to be getting a lot of irritation, and I think they're both using the aluminum. Arm. I forget what he calls the arm, but there's a brass one and an aluminum one, the cam link or something like that. And so I was going to order that, and it made a difference. Did you talk to Carson about that at
all? Yeah, actually I talked to Carson yesterday. I got him on the phone, which is weird because, yeah, I mean, customer service answers on a Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, come on, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah,
that's great to hear.
To him, and he sent out my cams, and he sent out the brass and the aluminum one, which it came stock with brass.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily have any irritation when I was doing well, actually, so if normally, if you're starting your shade and it starts out really, really, really soft, let's say like this tone right here, his is already like right off the bat, it's like that tone. It's like, holy shit. I mean, it really, pardon my French, but it really caught me off guard of how well it's saturated. And I wasn't used to it. So for saturation, I even told him like the 20, because I've done a lot. I did a little bit of color. I don't have any pictures on here to show you, but I did a color one just the other day with it, and yeah, it packed really well. I didn't really notice. I just noticed that if I had to with that, it would have been too much for it. So, and I talked to him because I actually have a machine shop that I have access to, 5-axis lathes and everything. And I told him that I did have one issue with cartridge fitment.
Yeah.
Because I've used, and he's like, yeah, we've had that. He goes, which one do you have? I'm like, well, I have the solid brass grip. And he's like, I haven't heard anything. I'm like, well, that's fine. I can turn the inside of that just a little bit, but it's not his machine. It's the manufacturer of the cartridges,
Yeah. We talked a little bit about that. They're so inconsistent from manufacturer to manufacturer, or not even that, just within the same manufacturer, the cartridges can be pretty inconsistent. And I've had the same thing.
That's the thing is with the cartridges, because I mean, I use T-Tech a little bit, and I use Peak. I don't use Cheyenne much, just because I don't do needle quality, and I'm probably the only one. But yeah, it's one fit, one didn't. One fit, one didn't, and then so it's not his machines are it's milled right. It's just the inconsistency of the cartridge manufacturer. So
that's one of the biggest problems across all machines that I'm using. I'm having a problem with T-Tech and his machines. They get hung up in there. They won't seat in right, and I can't get them back out. And then on the far other side of that, my favorite machine still to color with is the Scorpion by Ink machines. And
yeah,
and my T-Tech fits so loose in that one, they'll slowly work themselves loose and just shoot across the room in the middle of work. So
I have well, my Edge X that I have from FK, the T-Tex in that, they're so loose that when I'm doing it, they actually bend in the, but it's a Cheyenne grip that I use in that one, and it still bends back. So he told me to try some quadrants, so I'm ordering some quadrants tomorrow. Actually, no, it'd be
Lana likes those a lot, and I think Baxter uses quadrants too, if I remember right. I haven't tried them. I haven't used them.
yeah, I haven't either. I've liked Peak because Peak has so many different variations of like tapers, like the length of the taper, and I've come from a background of my own. That probably tells you how long I've been at this. So each needle grouping, I want a different reaction to it, and I just love the fact that you can pick several options of each configuration. So
Yeah,
but they don't fit the greatest in that. So I might just use them in a different machine. But right now, I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna try getting everything done with this machine and try to see how versatile it can really be. And I think it'll be really, really good because so far so good.
yeah, I'm with you. I really love it so far. It's awesome. It works well with battery packs, and they seem to lock in tightly into it. So even my cheap ones lock in pretty tightly into it. One other manufacturer that I've been using a little bit, they sent me some just to test out. They're called Maverick tattoo cartridges. And my buddy Andy Chambers, who's my back piece, has been using them for a while. And then they just, out of the blue, sent me a handful to try a month or so ago. And I really liked them. So as soon as my T-Tex run low, I think I'm going to place an order with Maverick and see if they work any better. They seem like they've fit into the Numa and the Scorpion pretty well.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, so are you using because I know Ty is using the one battery pack that's squared and it's got the little thing right here.
Yeah.
You're using the critical one, right?
Yeah, I just started using the critical within the last month. They sent it out. They sent it out to a bunch of YouTubers for us to test and do shows on. I probably would not buy them. I would if they break, I'll just buy the Amazon job again. They're fine. They're really not. I like the docking station pretty well, and it's magnetic, and so I can keep it off of my work station. It does show. They have a few features, like they do show how charged they are, stuff like that. But I think that they're just as finicky as the $40 ones. I've had them kind of cutting in and out on the last week or two. And for $600 or whatever they are, $500 or $600, I just can't see the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. I did, I'm still coated. I mean, I switched it off. I don't use a foot pedal anymore. I still use the little push start on my critical.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind giving it a try, especially now with this machine being a pen style. It would make sense to, not have because it is.
I was going to. Yeah, I was going to say it's definitely worth checking out those Illusionist batteries. They're like, the last I looked at them, I linked to them in this episode that we just put out, and I was saying they were $45 batteries, but they're like $33 or $35 now, and it's prime shipping. So they're worth trying and just throwing out if you don't like them, and they work great with the new one.
Yeah, it's actually. Well, this is not my first pen I've used. It's the first pen I've ever owned. I've always had pens that were this big, like the whole size hanging off the back. This barely fits in at all, and it's kind of weird not having everything, everything at the top, like no machine really behind it. So I think it lends itself perfectly to a battery pack.
Just real quick to Techie, there is someone who's got some background noise happening. It's okay, but if you just mute yourself and then unmute yourself when you're talking, that works out perfect. We also have Bruno in the chat room, who often comes in he says Black Claw needles are a great option for cartridge needles, especially for liners.
I've used Black Claw traditional needles back when I was still using coils, and I love them. I haven't used their cartridges though. I should try those. Who else that's on the call here is using cartridges? And have you found any that work pretty well with all your machines? Because I haven't found one yet that works with everything.
I like the FYT ones. I don't use cartridges. I use steel, but my mentor always liked the FYT cartridges.
Okay. Yeah. They came from well, I guess a lot of these did, but they came from the cosmetic industry, if I've heard right. My buddy Sean Bellina, who owns S8 and Spirit, they are somehow affiliated or have some ownership in FYT, and he was talking about them once before. I think that they sold them through his cosmetic company Dermagear, and that's how they first kind of formed that relationship. But I forgot about them.
Yeah, I saw them at we initially saw them at the Tommy's Tattoo convention when they were having conventions before this whole thing, and they were actually handing out free samples, and that's how we got onto it. They gave us out like a free box of 3 rounds, and they were awesome. We were trying the Tommy's cartridges from Tommy's Tattoo Supply, but they were having an issue of like they would untwist themselves kind of out of the machine, which I thought, was crazy. But these ones they stay exactly where you want them. It's quite nice.
Yeah, that's nice. That's the problem I have more than anything, is it slowly untwisting from the machine and then just shooting out in my client's body.
Yeah.
Has anybody tried the needle jig ones, the dynasties, or?
No. I don't know. I haven't met, just in passing I've met, is his name Mark?
Yeah, Mark Lascarbo.
Yeah, just through you, we've met on one of these shows, but I don't know too much about needle jig. I'm gonna jump on their site and make myself a note about that.
Yeah, he's got some good videos about his history. He was making it was needle jig like way back in the day, and he was making some of the first round mags, and he calls them round mags. He's like, the round mags, damn it, fucking, what's this new fangled curved thing? He's not quite like that. He speaks for himself, but he was like, way back then, and caught up with a lot of the great tattooers back then, because he was making some of the best needle jigs, or arguably the best needle jigs, right? And he's good. He's got a real eye for detail. He's a good person, and
yeah. I'll check him out. I know he hosts or has a show on reinventing as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's been interviewing people on Mondays. Renee Little is somebody that Billy Lyons. Renee's been doing art jams, and she was beamed in last night too. She's great, from Oklahoma City, and he's doing some Q&A, and I started helping him with some video stuff a couple years ago, 2 years ago maybe, and he's finally getting comfortable doing the live stuff, right? So he got some pretty good cameras. His stuff looks really nice.
Yeah,
and
I did notice that the little bit that I just seeing the clips that you've posted of him, I noticed that his video and audio seem like they're pretty solid. I was hoping to be that way today, but apparently the internet doesn't want to.
Right. Well, you look good now. I mean, it's working now. So it looks like you're using the new camera now.
I'm using the new camera, but it looks like Minicam might have been the problem, and I had it set up with all the different views like Jason has been doing. I had it where I can have my iPad, my Cintiq, myself, and
Yeah.
And it just was apparently was too much. And it may be I'm using a MacBook Pro, but it's like a 2017 version, so I guess that is getting kind of old now. And trying to run this 4K through it and do all this other stuff might be causing some trouble. I don't really know, but
well, when you start dealing with lots of high end, so here I'll make it a 2-minute story because you'll appreciate it more than most, right? So we buy this new fucking R2D2 computer to bring over to the Venetian Tattoo Conference. So we're gonna beam out the conference. Oh my god, this may take more than 2 minutes. So we buy this brand new system, brand new cameras, like it's fucking awesome, and we ship it over to Venice. And not on a whim, but kind of on a whim. We're like, you know what? Let's just pack up our portables and all our normal camera and everything, just so we have some backup, right? So but we weren't necessarily I still don't have checklists. I didn't have a checklist that was like, make sure you have a full set of everything to back up, in case stuff gets stalled in customs. But you know what? It didn't. Like I got like an email. It was in Italian, but it said that the hotel got the package. Okay, cool. So we go over to Italy. We land. We eat. We get to the hotel on I don't know whatever the day before on Saturday. It starts on Sunday. On Saturday they say, hey, we've got all this stuff. Okay, cool. Sunday morning, you know, the event starts at 5 o'clock. And so I would normally have set up the day before anyways, but it's Italian. They're just going to set up that morning. You know, we're setting everything up. The packages are not in the hotel. They're in customs. Oh, shit. So I spent like 3 hours trying to figure out how if we could get our equipment out of customs. We realized we couldn't get it out of customs. So then we had to set up all of our B equipment, you know, my portable computer with like the 3 adapters to get the one camera to fit into it. Anyways, our backup equipment works. Okay, that's fine. Like it wasn't the best, but we were able to beam out, you know, all 3 days of the conference.
Yeah.
It takes another like 3 to 4 months to get that computer back. We finally get the computer back. We set up our computer. It might have been in the theater building at this point, or maybe it was, I don't know. Anyways, we set up the computer. We set up our 2 cameras, our 2 high-def cameras, and our 2 USB cameras, and everything is usually generally works, but about 20% of the time, about 40 minutes in, everything just kind of hiccups. No rhyme or reason. No fucking rhyme or reason. It just happens. All the time, it looks fucking beautiful. When we get to, we go to a video conference, a webcasting conference in New York City. It's the same exact spot where where Empire State is. So it was amazing seeing it all be full of computer geeks instead of tattooers. And we end up talking to the B&H guy twice. First, we just shoot the shit with him. On the way back around, we realize like no one really has much here to offer us. But we start talking to B&H and we just start describing, you know, we do actually have this one problem. Every once in a while when we're doing all this stuff, it starts to seize. And he goes, you know, is this the R2-D2 Mac? I'm like, yeah. He's like, it's got 6 fire ports. I'm like, yeah, it's got 6 fire ports. He's like, there's only 3 buses inside of it. So, and they're not marked. So if you have a camera that's hooked up to 2 fire ports that happen to be on the same bus, then you're going to fuck yourself because all of a sudden you're trying to push 2 420K or high def feeds through a bus that's, you know, just can't do it. So we literally had to like find like the one geek online who knew where the buses were to map to the ports. So we made sure that we don't put 2 cameras inside of the same, you know, but it's unmarked. It just looks like 6 fire ports. It was amazing that these guys figured that shit out.
They let you know which ones went to what, just in the, you know, in the my system preferences, or you know, or in the you know, in the on the machine somehow.
It was pretty nuts. You know, my guess is that there aren't a million people that are like trying to push all of that stuff through the pack. But on the other hand, yeah, you're right. It was so frustrating. And if we didn't find that guy, I don't even know what we would have done. It was crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We would have had a $5,000 computer that just seized every 40 minutes, half the time.
Where is that? So this was back in the Venetian Gallery. So this was 5 or 6 years ago or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still using that computer now.
Oh, are you? Okay.
That's I mean, I'm still using that computer and camera. This is the, you know, it's not a bad camera. It doesn't quite have the depth of field that the new ones have. Yeah. But
I've been watching. I'm not gonna get out of here soon, but I've been watching Russ. Man, I've got a Russ Abbott makes me spend too much money, but you know, now that he's got a YouTube channel, he shows me his whole setup of all the folks that he's watching, and everything looks so clean. And he of course buys like 3 of the cameras instead of 1, so he has all the shots and everything. But he turned me on to a couple of these YouTubers. One is this guy Peter Mckinnon, who's really good and very cinematic and is a good storyteller and just an entertaining YouTube personality. And another one is this guy Caleb Pike, I think, a DSLR video shooter. And I basically just gone through and copied a couple of his mobile setups. I bought 2 of this exact setup, one for my tattoo studio and one for here. And I've only used this one. I haven't set the one up at the tattoo studio last week. They just came in.
Yeah, I'm subscribed to Peter McKinnon.
Are you? Yeah, he's really good, both of those guys. And Caleb is not like him. Caleb's more of just describing what why to buy this, why this camera works so well for YouTubers as opposed to another one, and how he's connecting everything. He's more of a to B how-to guy, not quite as much of a storyteller as Peter McKinnon. But I like he's really, really awesome. So for anyone, not that you should take any tech advice from me, but for anyone wanting to get better at this, I would recommend both of those guys. They're awesome. And
yeah,
cool.
Can you guys link that so we can check it out after? the cast? Because I'm interested in it myself. Like some of you guys' setups, because essentially I just picked up this camera holder right here, and it's got some stupid like makeup light on it. I don't know. It was like $20 from Staples. I
Yeah,
have, I'm
you know
gonna,
what? I'll put the link in the comments of
Okay.
the event in the
Sounds good.
community.
I can share their name here on the chat as well, just in case someone wants to. Peter McKinnon's site is just Peter McKinnon, and then Caleb is DSLR Video Pro. I'm just typing this in the chat.
One of my favorite things to do is to surf while hosting one of these, so that as soon as the videos start talking, I'm hearing like all these different talkings and then the echoes, and I'm like, oh my God, is everyone hearing this, or am I just hearing this? And I do think that these days I'm just hearing it.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. This all sounded good to me.
Awesome.
Since whoever turned off their muted that had the background noise, everything sounds good to me. Well, guys, I'm sorry. It's 5 after 9. I've got to get to my exercise class, and I'm sorry that my had such internet issues. It seems like they're settling in now, but I'm afraid to reopen to share my drawing. But I'll be better prepared for next week. Hopefully we can get these internet issues worked out.
Cool. Next time, Steve Batty's asking you, hey Jake, how's Dave Evans doing? I haven't seen or heard of anything from him in a while, but he'll have to wait until the next stream because you got to boogie and exercise.
Go. David is great, and he actually just started tattooing at my studio on days that I'm not there. So I'll talk a little bit more about him. We haven't tattooed together in probably 6 or 8 years, but
cool.
But yeah, I'll talk about him. He's working with me, but we're using the same station and they're on different days. So unless I like swing by just to pick something up, I don't really get to see him. But I really want to get him back on the show. I miss hanging out with him and podcasting with him. He was my partner in crime for the first 100 episodes or so. For people who watch way back then. But man, thanks everybody. I'm glad so many people jumped on today. Sorry I didn't get to talk to everyone more. Too many technical issues, but I'll. See you guys.
Oh, good, man. Hey, thanks again. And people can find you at what is it like? Let people know how to find you real quick. I'm gonna spotlight you.
On a personal level, you can find me at my Instagram is Plug Ugly Art, and then Fireside Tattoo Network. We have Fireside Tattoo both on YouTube is our biggest platform, but we have audio versions of all of the podcasts on on Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, all of the iTunes, all those things. And we do have we've been rolling doing new episodes, so we'll have the first one this week with on the cyberfluidics brush set with Brad Wooten. Next week I think we're gonna drop the one that we did with Gabe. You introduced me to him, full scale stencils. What's his name?
Andre
Malcolm. Yeah, so next week will be Andre Malcolm. We'll talk about printing stencils, a single page stencil that you can make a bodysuit out of. Super cool. We've got an interview with Tattoo Snob coming out. Kevin from Tattoo Snob. That one was really, really good. Tattoo Snob is, in my opinion, one of the best curated tattoo pages on Instagram, and they've got over
absolutely
followers. They're really, really good, and they do it just they get nothing from it. I mean, they make no money. They don't do paid placement. They don't do any of that stuff. They just love tattoos, and both super cool guys. It's two brothers. And then we have stay tuned. If you're not subscribed to our newsletter, then you should. All this stuff comes through in our newsletter each week whenever new episodes come out. But that's awesome. It, guys. Thanks. I'm gonna get out of here and try to get my muscles big for a little while, and then get back to my work day.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right.
It's awesome that he's stringent on the exercise routine. We do actually, speaking of that, we have Dirk Morrison was just posting up about how he's starting to work on his, health and longevity of the tattooer new course. He's done a couple seminars in the past, but he's getting another one together. So that's pretty exciting. Everybody down for withdrawing for another 10 or 20 minutes? What's everybody up to?
Just staying away from the cold, Gabe.
Awesome. And so you just finished up your apprenticeship? Is that what we heard? You recently crossed the threshold into professional tattooer?
Yeah, I did. It took a lot of work and blood, sweat, and tears as usual, but we made it, and now the real journey starts.
You know, it never ends, right? It's the ideally you're doing your best work on your deathbed fucking 80 years from now, 120
Yeah,
years from now.
yeah, you never make your best piece. Could another one could come up, and then they'll be like, "Wow, all right." So as long as you keep creating until the day you close your eyes, then that's all that matters, right?
It's absolutely one of the main things that matters, right? I mean, the main thing is keeping breathing.
Yeah, exactly. And I appreciated your help too. You helped very quickly when I needed the help on getting the book. I was like, oh gosh, I don't know how long it's going to take, but you were very quick, and I appreciate that.
Well, we're really trying to get everything as smooth as possible. So we have these 2 new platforms or 3 new platforms that we're using, and I think that we're like 1 or 2 emails away from making everything perfectly smooth. But there's still a little bit of connecting of the dots that needs to happen manually, and we're almost there. So I appreciate, I'm trying to like nail all the problems as quickly as possible, and then eventually we should be able to solve them before they even happen. And that's when we could really start to promote the technology and stuff. We want to make sure people have as few problems as possible.
Yeah, I like that find your tattooer section, because that that gives like opportunity to people who aren't really, on the artistic side, they're more of the clientele side. They can find someone, and I think that's so great that they can artists themselves can, market themselves, and at the same time, it gives clients the opportunity to download the app and get some use out of it too.
Yeah, did you fill out your address inside of the app? I need to update that. Speaking of that map, I do need to update that. And speaking of doing things by hand, I need to update that map by hand.
Oh,
Um,
really? I did not. I update. I was wondering how you were able to do that, and
yeah, well, let me.
I wasn't.
I'll screen share real quick, and I can show you. Let's see, Safari. Okay, so this is the Reinventing the Tattoo community. This is actually the main feed. Let's go to the homepage. This is the website, but if you're on the mobile app, the navigation's on the bottom. If you click on your profile and then you edit your profile, then one of the fields here is address for Google Map. So ideally, if you go to your Google Maps and like do a search for the studio, and then you're able to copy the official Google Map address, plop it into here, then that's perfect. And then the section where, again, after I click a couple buttons and make sure there's no awkward data, yeah, we have this find a tattooer link here. And I'm not sure it works over the web. It might only work on the mobile app, but that shows a Google map that has all the pins in the right places. So in any event,
Yeah, I think
the
that's
more people
awesome.
fill out the profile sections, then the more they'll get out of the app. If you put in your Instagram and your website, then when people look at your profile, they'll see it. I'm trying to stay off the social media, so I'm not sending people to the social media. I'm sending people to here. Anyways,
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, I really enjoy what Melissa's doing as well. I've been like watching that while also doing my own thing, and I think that's awesome.
yeah,
Well, thank you.
that's great.
Yeah, is that from last night's? Are you doing oil, or is that looks like oil?
Yeah, it's from last night. Oil, I tend to get really, really tedious with oil.
Yeah, you do have to be patient with it, right?
But I love that it blends and blends and blends.
Yeah, that's always a great benefit of oil for sure. With acrylic, it is more difficult to get the like softer blends to it, but I know with oils, with the longer drying time, it's much easier to get them a nice softer blend.
I actually haven't done still life in quite a while, so this was a nice little change up.
It's definitely pretty amazing the variety of exercises and art jams that have been coming through. and it's really amazing to see people pick stuff up and then carry it through. It's yeah, it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, that's what art's about, really.
I would
Oh
say
yeah,
last
absolutely.
year,
Yeah.
prior to the virtual tattoo gathering stuff, I was not confident whatsoever with oils. I had done it like maybe once or twice.
Yeah, there was a couple of those great exercises. Christina Ramos did her the donut. Even
That was a fun one.
Matt Hurtado's like simple, full on like 101, just doing shading out. Was it a cube or a circle or a sphere or something? It was
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
those were all
fun.
really cool.
Yeah, they're all very fun.
That's cool. Did you tune into some of the virtual gatherings too, or?
Yeah, I actually took days off of work and everything just to make sure I got them, and
Oh, yeah.
all of them were excellent. Like everything was timed out perfectly, and then you got good breaks so that you could go check out like the Cheyenne booth and all that fun stuff. So it was wicked awesome the way it was all scheduled out. I really enjoyed that.
Awesome. That's great to hear. It was
Yeah,
very, very fun to put together. Also, very intense.
yeah,
At times in the control room here, I would have like 12 different, like not even just 12 different conversations, but like there'd be like 6 conversations, and then there'd be like 2 discussion panels, a drunk critique, and
yeah.
a shop tour all at the same time. And it was, yeah, like I said, it was a fun experience, but it was also crazy to kind of have, for at least an hour or two a day, I would literally have like six to 12 conversations, that I'm monitoring at the same time. Whew.
That's crazy.
So being able to actually do this stuff, 2 events a day at a time is even more amazing. It's like the same kind of energy, just spaced out in bite-sized chunks that are easy to digest for us. But we'll do another one. We have plans to do another now that this technology is kind of together. And one of the things for the virtual gatherings is that you know uh, we didn't really get anybody's information. We got some people's information, and it was we got the vetted list. Um, but with a mobile app, everyone kind of like signs up, so we can keep in touch with people and keep people kind of coming back on a regular basis to again, mostly to achieve a better effect, right? So if we're doing it once a month, that's it's definitely pretty cool. But if we're doing stuff once a week or even 2 times or 3 times a week, then those effects and the routines just well, again, it's like the compounding positive effects of routine professional development and sharing and critiques and all that's just crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it was wonderful. I was wondering too with everything going on. I was like, how are they going to do conventions? That's awful. That's what I shoot for in the summer times and fall times. But, and then that happened and I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. Everybody's doing Zoom nowadays that it just makes sense to do it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and guys are always very focused on making sure that people are participating as much as technology allows, and sharing and whatnot. So it's yeah, the fact that people are contributing like this, even isn't it's definitely an effect of his vision of wanting to bring people together. And imagine if tattooers were doing their homework in the mornings together over coffee. And it's like, yeah, okay, I could envision that. Let's make that shit happen. Uh, Whereas, there's a lot of places obviously that are doing, $20 a month or $50 a month, a bunch of webinars or $1,000 apprenticeships online. I mean, we started advertising a little bit on the Facebook, so now I get to see all the other tattoo learning platform Facebook ads. And there's at least one talented person. There's a couple of adequate people, I suppose. I don't know. It's a weird. It's a very weird space to kind of be in. But the point is, guys focused on helping bring people together to share with each other. It just creates a culture that is very positive for the tattoo world. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome that this has brought light to more online seminars than anything. I think that's what really this pandemic has done for artists is that they've realized like, hey, I can teach online and get the information still out there. Because I was just going to Barnes and Noble the other day and I didn't see a lot of art, like real art books anymore. Like, for more of not just the fundamentals of this is a circle, this is, you know, a cone, this is a cube. It's more of just, you know, more in-depth stuff. And I couldn't really find that, but I've seen a lot more of that online with seminars and whatnot, which I think is awesome.
As far as books, you should check out Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. Betty Edwards has like 4 or 5 books that are insanely awesome for anybody, like any level of skill. Like I know artists that literally go through and read like 2 of her books every single year and work through all of the exercises in them.
Yeah, I'll definitely. Yeah, that's awesome. What's the name of that? I'll write that down right in the corner here.
One sec, let me grab it. We have like a vision.
Yeah, because I've been having a tough time. I like old school with. I just love reading physical copies of books. So, I just love getting my hands on them and actually looking at them and flipping through the pages. And I really couldn't find much when I went. But I am taking a composition course with Marshall Vandriff, who is a great teacher. I think the way he teaches is so excellent. So I'm doing that.
So that's the first one that she did. I've got all of her books and they're all pretty good. They're a little dense in terms of like the psychology in them. So it might be a little bit harder for some to read, but it's like super good for like just doing little exercises on your own. And like each chapter is not super long. It's just a lot of learning how artists think, like doing that transfer between thinking and seeing. I'm super into psychology, so it was kind of really helpful for me. But this was recommended in one of the seminars that I took a couple of years back. And like I said, there's artists that go through it once a year.
That's
it's
awesome.
a classic.
Yeah.
I'm going to screen share Marshall's website here. This is a Marshall Vandriff you were talking about.
Yeah. I'm taking his composition boot camp, which actually starts today. I started listening to the Draftsman podcast with Prokopenko and Marshall, and they give excellent advice psychologically and physically of how you can better yourself in the industry and not feel so bad on yourself, beating yourself up as well. And I actually started looking at his website and I looked at all of his classes and I was like, these are great subjects to learn from. So his composition boot camp starts today. So I'm gonna check that out and see how that goes. But also I read, if you like, Melissa, if you like the psychological side of artistry, you should check out the book, The War of Art from Stephen Pressfield, if you haven't already. That is a great psychological book on how to better your brain, to not, to fight against your brain when you basically self-sabotaging with your artistry, with the whole I can't do better than this, or everyone else is better than me, how can I get better, and all that fun stuff. So if you haven't checked out that book, you definitely should.
What is it called again?
The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. It's a 3-book series, and you can get it on Audible. The author actually is the one that reads it on Audible, and it's a very quick book. It's only about 2 hours of a read, but it basically goes over the factor of psychological war of your head. And when you sit down and will stare at that blank piece of paper, and all those thoughts go into your head, and then you start making mistakes, and then you're like, oh, screw this, you're just going to rip it up. I'm going to fail and I'm never going to make it. And he really goes over that whole thing. And it's one of my favorite books that I've ever listened to and read. it's a 3-book series. So that first book basically talks about the defining of the self-sabotage, and he kind of attacks you a little bit, but towards the end he makes you feel better on how you can better yourself. And then the second one, I believe, is excuse my language, I think it's Nobody Wants to Read Your Shit. I think that's what it's titled. And then the final book is Becoming Pro. So basically finalizes everything that he stated in the last 2 books, and how you can really get into the mindset of a professional compared to the amateur. As far as the professional doesn't care about what the end result is going to be. He just shows up every day and sits down and does his work and doesn't care about anything else. So I think everybody should check that out.
Yeah, that's a good philosophies. And yeah, what was I don't know if it came from that book, but a professional will come to work and do their best to the job the best they possibly can every single day, whether they kind of want to or not. Whereas the amateurs, really awesome when they're on, but if they're not on, I can't do that today. That's one of the distinguishing, and it's okay to be either or. Just you don't want to confuse who you are and what you're doing and what your motivations are.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to keep yourself consistent and keep your brainwaves consistent, and it's okay to really hound on yourself once in a while. Just don't let it hold you back in what your work is doing. And you can't make yourself so upset that you get up and walk away and never touch it again, because that's not fair to yourself.
Well, and as a tattooer, especially as a tattooer who, professional tattooers who are pulling in, real serious wages, you have to be professional. Like, you can't be mad at your partner and take it out on your client, or even do you can't bring that baggage in, and so artists will often tend to use an excuse like, well, I'm an artist, I'm supposed to be emotional and crazy, where it's like, but as a tattoo artist, charging $1,500 a day, you need to show up, focus on your client, produce an amazing experience for them that they remember for the rest of their life, and then after after you're done with your tattoo, then worry about how the hell you're going to get back in the house. But
I have a 25-minute drive.
There you go, perfect. Physical. One of the things that physical. You can solve a lot of mental issues just with some physical solutions sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite quotes from that book is that the artist and the warrior have the same mentality, where we both have to create life. So, artists, that's their job, is they're creating life. Like, they're just looking at an image and be like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. Or they take a client and they'll take the client's idea and turn that into life. That's their job. So you have to be in a certain mindset if you're going to achieve that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to keep it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Keep it consistent.
One of the reasons why Guy is very inspirational, just his his dedication to the core of art and bettering it means that no matter how awesome he gets, he's always seeking out a better way, and more people to collaborate with and to learn from. It's
and that's all that matters. That's all artists should really be at the end of the day. Is I can't really deal with the artists that want to be one over the other, or my work's better than yours and yours is garbage. Like, we're all here doing the same exact job. Like, it doesn't matter whose is worse and whose is better, but you should just be an inspiration and an example for the younger generation, not trying to put them down, or all that fun stuff, or like the stories you hear of apprentices and the stuff they got to deal with just to get by. It's like, that's not the reason why you're there. The reason why you're there is to learn and to get inspired to do this job every day, because it's hard. It's a hard job. It's taxing physically, mentally, and emotionally. So why make it difficult on the apprentices?
I suppose I'm not in. I guess the counter argument, or not the counter argument, I'm not even sure. I'm playing devil's advocate here, but because it's so stressful, right? So for instance, almost in all aspects of our lives, we really should like stress test ourselves before we get into the real life test, right? So like you should, probably pay somebody to audit your taxes, so before the state comes in and tears it apart, you have somebody that would be like the state come in and tear it apart. So they say, hey, this is what the state would do, or the feds or whatever. So in some ways, stress testing, an apprentice. And again, I'm not advocating for the bullshit, because there's so much crap that is unnecessary. But on the other hand, there might be something to be said for an appropriate test of stress, before you're actually in the real world, in the middle of a tattoo on somebody, who's freaking the fuck out, or whoever, I'm not even, whatever the example of the high stress might be. But
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, I totally agree on that because, once you get into that situation of, the client trusting you with their skin, and then you end up in a stressful situation, are you able to keep your mind at ease to finish the job, or are you going to allow that to, stress you out and make the job even worse? Like if you're doing a small tattoo, but then all of a sudden half the stencil's missing, what are you going to do now?
Yep.
So it's just, I definitely understand that portion of it. And that does, that is definitely makes sense. Yeah.
It's just, so my version of that was I set up one of our apprentices to do a tattoo at the Paradise Tattoo Gathering on the stage with Guy guiding him, right? So, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a lot of stress, and that would be the perfect. If you can tattoo in that situation, you could probably tattoo in any situation. Then all of a sudden, it was about an hour before the event, and there was like already 50 people, 60 people milling about, and the fellow, the apprentice was, setting up and, getting kind of nervous, and all of a sudden people just keep filling in, and there must have been 150 people packed in that fucking room by the time he was starting. And it was about as high pressure as you could possibly be as an apprentice, So he had guys sitting there, there's clients there, and it was like his fifth tattoo or sixth tattoo or something. And at one point I thought it was going to be too much. I was like, oh man, what if this doesn't work out? Like, what if all of a sudden he fucking shits and walks off, and there's a whole 150 people looking to ask Guy questions about tattoos or whatever, and when he started off and he was a little bit shaky, right? He was like, oh man, like he's got to calm his fucking nerves somehow. And, within 10 seconds, Guy was like, if you put that roll of paper towels under your forearm and use it to leverage your arm, then you'll be a little less shaky. And you might want to start with some of the shading first. And then when you get confidence, go back into some of those lines, and all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute, here we go. He, got through the crux of it, and Guy was helping him along, and he had a great tattoo. I don't even think it needed a touch-up, and guaranteed that apprentice could probably go through. He's a tattooer now, and there won't be any tattoo situation I think that he's going to get into that'll be any more stressful than that. And if he gets into it, he'll probably be able to handle it.
Yeah, that is very stressful to have a guy HSN just standing by, and a whole, not even just the 150 people on top of that. That is, that sounds like a very stressful situation. But I'm glad that he didn't, choke, and I'm glad that Guy was very helpful in that sense. Which is, I think, what someone might need at the end of the day. Like they start stressing out, and all they need to hear is, "Hey, man, just do this, and you'll be fine." Yep. So yeah, that's awesome that was, that he was able to experience that. That's such a great experience to have under your belt.
Okay, well we're at 10:30, so I figure maybe what we'll do is we'll highlight everyone for a couple minutes. You can talk about your piece, and then how people can find you and either buy your shit or get tattooed by you, and then we'll wrap up another awesome drawing night. So Patrick, actually you're muted, so I'll put on Kirsten first. Is that how you pronounce your name? Am I doing that right?
Yeah, I'm very impressed that it was pronounced correctly. That's awesome.
Holy Moses. Okay, well you're on.
All right. This is just a quick Big pen sketch. I've been working on a lot of big pen lately. This is just what I do to warm up, so I'm not, making this like a framed anything. You can find me at Frankie Says Things on Instagram, or on here, I believe it's at Kier Franklin, Kire Franklin. And I'd love to chat with all of you. It's fun. I love it.
Awesome.
And
Well, thank. Okay, and Patrick, you're up.
Yep. Okay, this is, let's see, get rid of that. There you go. You see that? How's that?
Perfect.
So this is for the Reinventing the Tattoo subscribers activity. So this is me sort of done now. And there's a tonal study, color study, and yeah, that's going to be submitted. And yeah, and the idea of it was to use shading as a way of developing depth. So there's shading, there's contours, and what was the other one? Shading, contours. Can't remember. Anyway, there you go.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, we'll definitely catch up tonight for that exercise, for the subscribers exercise. And then let's see. I've got Melissa. Oh wait, Patrick. I'm sorry. How are people finding you?
On Instagram at Patrick Boothman.
Okay. Well, sorry about the flipping around of all the cameras, everyone. But okay. And now, Melissa, you're up.
So this is just continuing on from the Nick Baxter thing last night. It's kind of my way of loosening up in the mornings, just working paint versus traditional or digital. Well, traditional like drawing, pencil drawings. You can find me Mac, MAC_MISSA. I'm out in Staten, Oregon. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Awesome.
Super early in the morning.
Well, thanks again. Yeah, it's always inspiring. Yeah, so we get up at and get this thing going by 9. It's like 6:30 by the time you're beaming, and it's amazing. And well, hey, thanks again. And anybody that is watching, feel free to always catch up 9 o'clock Monday mornings. 9 o'clock Monday morning Eastern. We'd love to have you beam in, but if you want to just simply enjoy the conversations, that's great. Just yeah, I'm going to plug the courses.reinventing the tattoo real quick, because this is one of the ways that we can do this. Yeah, courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. If you're a tattooer or an apprentice, the Reinventing the Tattoo Canon, 300 a year, a massive course, dozens of hours of videos, and weekly exclusive exercises. Of course, we also have building the Paul Rogers style prefab machine, which is currently happening as live webinars, but you can catch all of the replays and build yourself a tattoo machine pretty much out of hand tools. It's out of control watching Tony get in there and do it. We've got BJ Betts's course here, and then a bunch of other webinar replays. Yeah, well, thanks again for checking it out. And thank you, Guy, for making this happen. And we will all catch up, in the future.